Welcome to the Stage Time Podcast. I'm your host, Travis Valle, where we talk to comedians, ask them about hallmark experiences of their comedy careers. Today, joining me is Khalid Johnson. Say hi, Khalid.
What up, what up?
All right.
Solid Khalid comedy.
Yeah, Khalid's a comedian I've been working with for quite a while now. Very funny guy. You want to say anything to introduce yourself? Talk about some of the stuff that you do now?
Oh, yeah. Right now, I'm hosting a mic at Bricks in Staunton at the Southern with Chris Allen. Pretty much every Monday, coming to Travis's mic, hitting showcases. I don't know, got a festival coming up. I'm
right.
staying
That's
busy.
on the 25th, right?
Yeah. The water festival?
Yeah, because a couple comedians were actually sniped away from the show. I was trying to do the same night.
Oh, shit.
That's all right. We made it work. But yeah, Khalid and I have been working together for quite a while. He's a funny guy. And we're going to ask him a few things about his first performance. But first thing I want to start off with is, and I've been curious about this for a while. So is Khalid how your parents intended your name to be pronounced when you were named that? Oh, okay.
It is. Matter of fact, I was warned about it from my father. He was your name is Khalid because that's what I named you. If people tell you that it's pronounced wrong or that it's westernized, tell them like, yeah, it's westernized. That's what my dad is.
It's what he intended.
That's what Craig said, so that's what we're going with.
Because, the regular
Khalid.
Pronunciation would be Khalid, something like that. And I know some people who refer to you that way, and I was like, I'm pretty sure he pronounces it Khalid. Because the first time we met, I asked you your name, and you said Khalid. And I remember thinking, I thought you said Colin, so I referred to you as Colin. Yeah.
I'm seeing a doctor about it.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. Very good. But no, one of the things when I started comedy, I was wondering, should I change my name or come up with a stage name? Because my last name is Valle, and it's not pronounced westernized how it's spelled. It's a Spanish name. So, and I always wondered if that was going to create issues with me, either being introduced on stage or even getting gigs or just name recognition kind of thing. So was that anything that you ever had to kind of struggle with? Or
not struggle with. I think I'm still considering it as far as like incorporating or get a LLC, whatever it is, creating the fictitious persona that helps you not get sued too hard or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I still think about swapping it up, changing it out. I had one idea for a stage name. I wanted to be Pat Rice.
Pat Rice?
Pat Rice.
What's spawned that?
Patrice O'Neal is my favorite comedian, and my mother's name is Patrice. You split it in half, Pat Rice.
Oh, so you just took the name and split it in half. Yeah. Well, I thought about going by Travis V. I thought that would be a lot easier to pronounce.
I can picture the merch.
Yeah. And I thought about, sometimes I will write that down if I'm at a new mic where I know they don't know me and they're not going to pronounce my name right. I thought about going with the English version of my name, which would be Valle. So Travis Valle.
I introduced you as that once. I felt like a tool. Felt like a total douche.
It became a thing where pretty much every open mic, I would always start off my set with saying my name as kind of brand recognition or to correct the host, depending on what they said. So it's one of those things I kind of struggle with. But at the same time, I was like, I don't want to have to change my name. Like, I should be proud of my name. And when I was a kid, I went to a private school, and I went by Travis Valle just because it was easier than having to explain.
Like a Barry Obama.
Yeah, but I thought about going by Travis Valle. But when I switched to middle school, where it was much more diverse, I had kids in my class who were named like Khalid or had like Chinese names. And I'm like, if the teacher can pronounce those names, they can pronounce Valle just fine. So I was like, I'm sticking with Valle now. I'm going with what my ancestors said.
It's not a hard one to hit, you know. It's just like reading it might trip you up a little bit. And you're like, oh, shit.
Well, Louis C.K., his real name it's pronounced C.K., but it's spelled like S-I-S-Q something. I think he said it was Polish or Hungarian, something like that. So he changed it. It's still technically his name, but he changed the spelling so that people would.
How do you feel about Louis being a fake Mexican?
Louis being a fake Mexican?
Yeah.
I didn't know he was a fake Mexican.
He ran that game for a while.
Did he?
Yeah. Well, I think.
How does a redhead run a game as a Mexican?
I think it's his grandfather, great-grandfather.
Oh, that's right. He mentioned that. Like his grandpa married a Mexican woman, so he's got Mexican blood or something. Is that not true?
No, that's true.
Oh, but that's part of his identity?
Yeah, it was just like, it's like, oh, wow, he's just like pale Mexican or something like that. I don't even know if the woman he married was Mexican. It's just, I know he had people that was in Mexico when he was running around. I was like, oh yeah, I speak Spanish and stuff. I was like, oh no, I thought he was an oddity.
Well, it's like Elizabeth Warren claiming to be Native American and trying to get to Harvard.
That.
Did he think it was going to give him more stage recognition or something, or a diversity hire?
I don't know. I don't think so. It feels like it was just like probably a thing he talked about, and it became a grapevine thing, and then it became like a personal bit he was running with.
I see.
Because it didn't come up that often.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, so when I write my material, I really don't have too much Latino stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I have a little bit, but I didn't grow up really culturally Latino, so I don't really have too much experience to incorporate that in. I have thought about, I actually was working on this bit earlier today. I meant to do it tonight, but I forgot, where I talk about, I'm not fluent in Spanish, but I understand enough, but I have to respond in English. So it's like Han Solo talking to Chewbacca. Like someone just like, and I'm like, yeah, the bathroom's over there. And,
That's the most racist thing I've ever heard said.
I have like one or two Latino things, but it's not. And also, I worry sometimes that comedians come up with these very gimmicky bits, like, because I felt like Carlos Mencia, I used to love Carlos Mencia when I was in like middle school or high school, whenever he became big. But like looking back, I'm like, a lot of it's just, hey, I'm Mexican, or hey, that kind of thing. And I was like,
stolen joke.
Yeah, that's the thing too. That's what really got me off him too, was hearing that he stole jokes. And I saw like the side by side comparisons. I was like,
he admitted to it. He said he was doing a hip hop thing. He's like, it's just like the rappers. You take a rock song, sampling. He's like, yeah, I'm going to take your black joke and I'm just going to put some Mexican on it. Well, trying to lean into it.
Yeah.
Imagine if Drake did the same thing. He's like, yeah, 17-year-olds.
Well, do you know Ralphie May?
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about Ralphie May, but I thought that was another thing. It was like, oh, all my jokes are about me being fat. Mm-hmm. And, like, to me, that just kind of got old. Or, like, women who do jokes only about being women. Like, I get it's part of your experience.
That all of Ralphie May's jokes is about being fat, but it was like, no pun intended, the meat of it. It was like, of course, he was a very, very large man, so you got to think about how much material he would think of as a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
So like, I wouldn't call that gimmicky. I would call that him. That's just him doing his thing, or was him doing his thing. But he had other stuff because he had poverty jokes, he had racial jokes.
Yeah. He is one of those kind of white guys where it's like he grew up, I guess, or he acts like he grew up in a black neighborhood. I don't know his life story, but yeah, he's got that vibe about him.
Or even if he didn't grow up around black people, I think he could see the parallels.
Yeah.
As far as
he does bits about that. That I know. There's one about like lowrider being invented by fat people when they dropped a Twinkie in the car or something like. I don't know, but also, well, the thing is that like Gabriel Iglesias, he does a lot of fat jokes, but I feel like that's not. Even though that's like the title of his specials, that's not. Yeah, but he doesn't dwell on that too much. Like that might be his opener or something. Yeah,
his wife.
So I felt like Gabriel Iglesias is a fat comedian, but he doesn't do jokes all about. And he's a Latino comedian. He doesn't do all about. He'll sprinkle those in because that's part of his life experience, but it's not. With him, it doesn't seem like a gimmick.
That's interesting because that seems like a strange barrier. So it's like you have ties to a culture. And ties to an ethnicity or a size or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But the fear of that becoming a gimmick is interesting because it's like, are you blocking yourself? Because like that fear of becoming a gimmick might block certain comedians from just truly expressing themselves.
Yeah.
Like I have a thing with the whole conspiracy stuff because I talk conspiracy a lot. But we talk about this on Chris's podcast where it's like, don't want to be the conspiracy guy. It's like I'm still relatively new. I'm still pretty new at this, so I'm like, I don't know. I'm just going to keep talking until I figure out what this whole thing is about.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've kind of become the dark comedian in a lot of like dark jokes, not my skin tone, but I kind of own that in a way. But also, I don't do all dark jokes. I think people remember the dark jokes the most because of how
traumatizing.
Exactly. Yeah. But like tonight, I didn't do all jokes. Well, that kind of brings us to one of our things. Like, so when you write material, or at least when you started, was there a specific topic that you tried to build it around, or was it just, hey, I think this is funny, I'm going to try this out?
Yeah, the second one. I think something just kind of came to me. I actually don't remember my thought process for building up my first set.
Mm-hmm.
I remember how long it took. It took 3 weeks.
Oh yeah.
But I don't remember those 3 weeks of refining or 3 weeks of I want to talk about this. Never mind, that's stupid, and then changing it to something else. But I just remember it was 3 weeks to get something that I was comfortable bringing to people.
Oh, so what was your background with comedy before that? What kind of got you interested in stand up as a
interested in stand up specifically? People told me to do it. There was a open mic at Pompeii. I think I was working there at the time. I'm pretty sure I was.
Mm-hmm.
Whether I was or wasn't, I was there a lot. I was at the Pompeii Lounge in Staunton, and Brady Johnson started an open mic there, and then people were telling me about it. It's like, hey man, you got to sign up. You got to do this thing.
You were just kind of the funny guy in the group, and everyone liked your vibe and stuff, and thought, hey, you can probably do this on stage.
It's like I kind of knew I knew I was funny. I didn't know that was my selling point, or it was that integrated into my identity. But I used to try to just kill at Pompeii, working there. Like after hours, we're doing shift drinks and stuff like that and hanging out. And it wasn't like I was doing jokes. I was just doing, actually, that reminds me. No, I remember the thing that really sparked it.
What was that?
People told me to do it, but the first person that told me I was supposed to be a comedian was a comedian.
Oh, yeah? Well, that's
Yeah.
got to be good.
And I remember the joke that so
Go for
Pompeii
it.
Lounge is kind of like almost a speakeasy type thing.
Yeah.
Kind of hidden. It was upstairs from Emilio's.
Okay.
And it was like a sign on the window where you could miss it. And if you're new in town or you're visiting, usually I find somebody that can walk you there.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoyed doing that for people. Just like on my way to Pompeii.
You're just the shady guy who lures people into alleys. So
I'm not being shady. I'm just heading over to my favorite spot. And then I run into a group of guys or a group of girls, whatever it is. It's like, hey, do you know where Pompeii is? What? As a matter of fact, I do. I just so happen to be on my way. And then just showing them up and seeing people's eyes light up.
And then no one ever saw them again.
Yes. Yeah, it's actually true because it's out of towners.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
at least I didn't see him again.
Yeah.
So I'm up with my buddy Chris Bleshmick. We're heading up the stairs, and I'm just talking about beavers, and I'm thinking about
The animal? Or?
Yeah,
Okay.
the animal. There's the difference between humans and animals and what is choice and stuff like that. I'm like, think about this, man. Like, we could be whatever we want to be, you know? Like, we don't really have a predestined, like function, you know? We just do stuff and figure out what we want to do. You never seen, little baby boy beaver talking to daddy beaver. They're like, hey, Dad, I don't want to build dams. I want to make art. And he's just hacking away making sculptures. You know, you don't see that. And I wish I actually looked them up recently. I can't remember the names of any of these comedians. But it was a troupe. They're called the Decepticomics. I don't even know if they're still active.
So was it like an improv group or?
No, just
it was just
comics,
a group
like 4
of
or
guys
5
who
comics.
Oh, okay.
One of them was on Wild 'N Out.
For real?
Yeah, I mean, it was like I went up. And I'm getting ready to hit the top of the steps, like where the doorman usually is.
Yeah.
And unbeknownst to me, the headliner is hanging over the banister. And he's like looking down. He goes, turn away. I'm like, what? Let's get this leaves, man. What you just said is funnier than anything you're going to hear tonight. I didn't know what he was talking about. Then get up there, find out it was a comedy thing. And I get up there, I'm chopping it up with the headliner. He's toast. He is so drunk. And then he's just like, damn, I only had 2 drinks. And I was like, hey, man, smaller the town, the stronger the drinks. Ain't nothing to do but this out here. And he thought that was pretty funny. And we stuck around, watched the show. Everybody killed. Everybody was so funny. I still remember some of the bits from it. But one thing that was very flattering, other than him giving me that compliment heading up the stairs, was when the headliner went up. He used that thing I said about smaller the town,
really?
stronger the drinks.
He stole your joke.
I wasn't a comedian yet.
Yeah.
He may have asked. He was like, can I use that?
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Whether he did or didn't, it made me feel pretty good.
Did people laugh at it?
Yeah. They laughed.
There you go. So validation be a proxy.
Yeah. They burned it down. It was great.
That's
and
great.
then afterwards, we pop out of Pompeii and head down to Baja Bean. At the Baja Bean, these comedians come in as a group.
Oh, yeah.
And
The same ones from the show?
they had there were a few different comedy nights there that I remember bumping into, but nobody was like them. Like they had like a bit of like a rock star energy to it.
Oh yeah.
It's like even when they came into
just the grand entrance, they just kick open the doors and be like, "Party's here!"
No, they were being cool. It was like the aura. It was just like the energy around how everyone around them was acting. They were being like just cool, chill guys, but there was an excitement. Like, oh wow, they're here now, you know. And they was everybody gets it, you know. Like if you kill and you go out, it's like, hey, let's go celebrate. You still got that buzz on you. You still got a little high from the mic or the show or whatever it was. People pick up on it. The one dude that was on Wild 'N Out. This part is, I think this is fun. I think about it all the time. Okay, is this guy? I don't know how much I had talked to him, but everyone had picked up that I was funny. But this dude threw his arm around me. He's a tall guy, dude. Like, why taller than me? Yeah. That's saying something. I'm 6'3". And he's like, just like, hey, man, you're a funny dude. You like hanging out. You like going to the bars. You like talking to girls. It's all the same thing. That's comedy, man. You just got to do that in front of a microphone. You're a comedian. And he was just like, poking me in the chest, being like, you're a comedian. And if I come back, when I come back to Staunton, if you haven't started doing stand-up, I'm going to be very disappointed. He never came back. But I hope that...
He was never seen again.
Never seen again.
I'm seeing a pattern here, Khalid. I don't know.
Curse, man.
No, but look, I will agree with him on that, because actually, for those of you who haven't seen Khalid on stage, you do have a very good energy on stage, where it seems very natural when you're up there, I think. And whereas... And I've said this like 3 times on the podcast already with the other people I interviewed, but I'm very scripted for the most part. I've only recently started kind of being a little more free-flowing and riffing a bit, and didn't go super great tonight because there was a drunk guy who came in, and that started the whole thing. But we'll talk about that another time. But you are very good at kind of getting the energy up in a room, I think. I think that's one of your strengths.
I did a great job of that tonight. I came in like a little sour mood, but...
Tonight?
Yeah.
You just got off work. Like you said, you're still covered in your dirty junk.
At open mics, I'm always just getting off work. That's just, I think I had a bit of an attitude problem tonight, but one thing I try to do is fiercely commit to whoever I am in that moment. And like right now, I was feeling a little spicy. So, but I should have leaned into that more. Because the thing I thought was funny, because I don't know, it was like the 2 young ladies who went up tonight. It was their first time doing it. And I didn't want to roll the dice and risk being mean in a way that people don't have the opportunity to laugh at. That's just coming off as just simply cruel. But the thing I thought was funny was like, this is great. I'm going up first. And the bulk of the audience is the friends of 2 first-timers who are going last. So I was like, man, I could just start roasting and poking fun and talking all the shit I want, and you're not going to leave. Because you can't, because your 2 friends are here for your friends. I could really be an asshole, but I couldn't think fast enough to think of a way to package that in a way of like, yeah, that's a joke. I am just playing like, I kind of got you under the gun here. You know?
One of the reasons I've been afraid to do crowd work is because a comedian we both know, Chris Allen. I was at one of the comedy open mics, and I turned this into a whole bit. You probably heard it before, but he's like talking to people in the crowd. He finds one guy who said, because I think he was doing a joke about cheating or something like that, and he has like, anyone here been cheated on? And he picks a guy out, and the guy said he found his wife cheating on him. They're going through a divorce. He's living in a hotel, and Chris is just roasting him for like 10 minutes after that, and everybody's laughing at it. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, this poor guy is going through like the darkest point in his life, and everybody's laughing at it. And
what was the guy looking like, though?
I don't remember. It was probably like a middle-aged white guy.
No. Was he laughing?
Oh, I don't know, to be honest.
If he wasn't laughing, I guarantee you, leave this in. Chris probably would have stopped if he's paying attention to what's going on. Yeah, and I've had that is a risk with crowd work, but it's like, I'll give you a story. This is not a stand-up story, but as far as power of laughter in dark times, before I moved out here, I didn't have a whole lot. I had already kind of dropped out of school, and I got laid off from my TV news job. Girlfriend left me. It was like a pretty low point, and really all I had to my name was this '96 Jeep Cherokee. we were making dump runs with as we're moving out of this house, me and my roommate. He kept making a joke. He's like, in the last run, you should probably leave this Jeep here because it's a piece of shit. Lo and behold, on our way to the dump,
gave out.
Catches on fire.
Holy!
I think it was the transmission. I don't know what was on fire. I'm not really a big car guy. But we're driving up to the dump, so all the smoke is getting pulled underneath us. It's on fire the whole time we're driving up there. I just don't know.
You didn't just... Oh, you didn't know. I was about to say, I was like...
Someone behind us going to know. But it was the smoke's getting pulled underneath us.
Oh, I see.
And as soon as we stop at the little check-in thing at the dump, the smoke starts to billow up from under the hood. And Joey my roommate, starts cracking up. He's like, dude, your car is on fire. And I'm asking for a fire extinguisher. Everybody act like they don't speak English. Yo, people. But it's and then,
called out.
I figured out how to get that fire extinguisher. When I go to pull over to park my car, I just parked it next to the most expensive looking truck I could find. I got so much help.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it was missing a quarter panel. I got my arm inside of the engine, like spraying around trying to put this thing out. Couldn't do it. It ends up blowing up.
That's actually a trick my mom uses, where if she sees like a crappy car in a parking lot, she doesn't park anywhere near it because she's like, clearly doesn't care about their own property, so they're not going to care about hitting my door up.
But the car ends up blowing up. I'm on the phone with my either the fire department or my insurance company. Can't remember. But Joey, he had this on video too. The fire spreads from the engine up to the cabin. He goes, dude, it's spreading. It's spreading. And then right when he gets my attention and I see it, the steering column melts and the steering wheel falls over. And I go, oh my God. I'm kind of panicking at this point. Like, Jesus Christ, the one thing I got is done. But right when I say God, oh my God, steering column melts and the horn goes off. So in the video it goes, oh my man. And then the windows pop and all that stuff. And then I go through the fire and everything's, I used to be a videographer. I used to do videos and stuff. All my camera equipment was melted. And that was the end of that career. Oh. And all I found was a Christmas card. It was the only thing I could find. It says, wise men still seek him. And it was just scorched on the edges. But
God heard you.
He was telling me something. Speaking of it. But Joey.
Do comedy.
Maybe. That's it. The thing was, I got so upset with Joey. He was just laughing at this thing. Yeah. And I'm like, you don't get it, man. That's all I got. And he just looks at me and goes, well, it's gone now. So I'm like, ain't nothing left to do but laugh. Yeah. It's like, life goes on. We will figure this out. But right now, I'm one of the few people who can say that they watched their car blow up at the dump. Yeah. And I'm going to have a good laugh about it.
There is that reality. I've definitely been there where like a situation's been so miserable, the only thing you can do is laugh. It was mostly when I was in the Marine Corps. But
gallows humor.
So that night though, that really stuck with me because maybe he was laughing. I was kind of on the other side.
From your perspective, you're empathizing with the dude. But I would feel so terrible, and I'd be so embarrassed. Everyone's laughing, but maybe it was this connection. Just be like, yeah, dude, that sucks so much, dude. Yeah, that's so awful. It's hilarious.
The thing that stuck with me too was like two other comedians that night. They're specifically like, where's that divorce guy at? And they like start roasting on him when their sets didn't go well. And like you said, kind of before this whole thing, as long as everyone's having fun, you can make it work. And that was something that Nathan Carlson had
whatever joke you do, they should have the opportunity to laugh at it. Like, is there a way someone can laugh at what you're saying at their expense? If they feel blocked out of it, it's like, everyone pile on this dude. I call that dirty work. But as long as it's like, I don't know, like you're connecting with them. Yeah, I think it's fine. Mm-hmm. And I've definitely overstepped the line, or thought I have, and talked to people after shows, and they told me it's fine. They had a great time, but I felt bad. I feel like I was so mean to you. I'm so sorry. And they're like, "Oh no, that was funny. We're just fucking around. Yeah, it's a comedy show."
I want to do an episode where I talk about my own thing, but I want to try to keep that separate because I don't want to. It sounds very self-serving, but I don't know. Maybe I'll record one with you, and you can interview me. But,
sweet. That sounds great.
Yeah, but part of the story I want to tell is one of the reasons I got into stand-up comedy was because I did see this comedian who was really bad, and he did crowd work, and it did not go well. He was very mean-spirited after his jokes weren't landing, and the place I was at banned comedy after that. So It doesn't work out. I've found ways to like make it more fun for everybody, I think. So I really do enjoy exploring that. But to kind of circle this back around, your first night doing comedy, you said you prepared 3 weeks. Tell me about that night.
It was cool. Joey was there. His wife Susan was there. My boy James Cathy was there. I remember a lot of people that were there. I talked to a table that was off to the left. This Pompeii Lounge, top lounge, by the balcony, and it went great. It really did. Like it was exactly how I pictured it. And the thing that was really cool was the compliment my boy James Cathy gave me, as far as how he thought I would be doing comedy versus what he saw. He thought I would be more of like a kind of goofy, herky-jerky joke, like, hey, I'm doing some jokes. But I was like, he's like, man, you were like smooth up there. You know, he sat down on a stool, leaned over, and like, it was a certain level of charisma he witnessed that I didn't know that I possessed.
Yeah.
So
I've seen that, and that's one thing, like I said, I give you props for, is that you definitely do have a great stage presence. So you had that pretty much from day one.
Yeah, and funny's always been my go-to. Like anytime I've had to do a presentation, before I was like writing jokes or anything like that. I remember being in like middle school and having to give a presentation that I'm on stage in front of like a large auditorium of people at some, I think, I can't remember, it was like some government service type thing where I had to do a presentation on this particular thing that the government does. And I got so many laughs, and I wasn't trying to be funny. It's just like, it's the defense mechanism thing. It's like, I'm uncomfortable. I'm going to give you something I think you might like, which is me being a little silly.
Do you remember any of the jokes that you did then? Did you do any of the ones that you...
I'll do them anymore. I did it. I turn over material pretty quick, but I did this set a few times, I think, and then dropped it for a long time and tried to bring it back, and I couldn't remember the rhythm. I couldn't remember, like, the beat. Sometimes jokes just become foreign to me. Like, I don't know why I thought this was so hilarious. Like, it has to be something that is kind of like living at the top of my brain for me to like want to do it. And I'm working on that. I'm getting better at it. But the set I did is Black Guy BDSM.
Okay. That's a great title that you can put on a YouTube thumbnail.
Yeah. I had a friend who was dating a pro-dom, like a professional dominatrix, and it got me interested.
I'm familiar with the terminology. Don't act like I don't know what for our listeners, I'll let you.
Before I met her, like I knew what a dominatrix was, but I never heard the term pro-dom. I never heard it put that way. It's just like a dominatrix. And I had a lot of conversations with her, and it was like, wow, what a crazy, strange world. But I'm kind of curious. Not in like a specifically horny way. Just like, tell me more. So I know nothing about. And I think
sitting there with a pen and paper, just taking notes.
I started off with a lot of sex jokes, but it was like I think the joke I really remembered, it still kind of goes over if I dust it off, is I think that's how they got us on a boat or something like that. It was like, hey, come here, we got whips and chains. It's gonna be fun, kinky, and consensual. And we're like, oh shit, land in America. I was like, oh, where the white women at? Y'all said this was gonna be. Oh, this is nothing like it was advertised. It's just whips and chains. But where's all the fun parts here you talk about? Yeah, and there was I think there's a part about sexual fantasies where it's like knowing women, and this is a hard one to get off if people don't like you. It's impossible to get off if people don't like you. You need a lot of likability to talk about this, I think. But I've just seen someone else try it. It failed because no one likes it. But I was talking about women's sexual fantasies as far as how many women I know that have like some type of home invasion for sex type fantasy. There's lots of reasons why somebody might have that type of fantasy. Either not giving themselves permission to feel lust, or revisiting the source of a trauma under their own terms. Like, there's all sorts of reasons why they have that. But like, it's like, that's a fantasy that like I've heard women speak about openly for most of my life. Like, even in high school, there's girls like, oh yeah, motherfucker, come here, just take it from me, And I'm like, that's cool. I don't judge it. But I'm like, on the other side of that fantasy is a literal sex criminal
Yeah.
So like, if my homegirl telling me, she's like, man, like if I was walking out of the Walgreens and just like the guy throws me in the back of El Camino, and just takes me to a motel, and he's kind of scary, but it's exciting and all stuff. You're like, okay, where?
Like if he wasn't with you though, he'd be behind bars probably.
No, but that's fantasy. But I'm saying, if my homeboy tell me, he's like, sometimes I'll be outside the Walgreens, just think about grabbing a bitch and taking her to a motel. I'm like, that's horrifying, dude. Yeah. I don't know if we could be friends. Like, why'd you tell me that? That's.
Yeah, I get you. You just scratched the record on that one. So, in your early materials, and you were kind of free flowing, you kind of got the same vibe that you got going now. You think? Was there anything in particular that, like, what was your biggest takeaway from that first set? What stuck with you about performing comedy?
That I could do it. Yeah. That I could do it, and almost like be a character. Mm-hmm. Like I could give people my highlights. There's like aspects of my personality that at the time only popped up once in a blue moon, where it's like, you're at a party, and I'm like, by nature, I'm less shy now. This stuff has definitely helped me. But I used to be a really shy dude, so just having moments where I'm being social, where I'm like, man, I got everybody on the hook right now. Everyone's digging my chili, or just I think I do miss. The thing I want to get back to is like the joy you get from killing has kind of diluted my thing of just trying to get a point across. Because I don't think I talk about things I believe in that much anymore.
So you're talking about like trying to make a statement with your comedy almost? Yeah,
not for any other reason other than just like, hey man, like this is a thing that makes sense to me. Yeah. Just like, it's just my perspective of like, I'm trying to work my way back to that of just like you might not like this, but can you see how I see it this way? Yeah. Like, you could keep disagreeing with me, just saying like, I'm not bad guy for thinking this way. This seems natural to me. Like, I didn't choose to think this way. You ain't choose to think the way you think. I'll just put it out there.
I think that is a challenge for comedy because, I kind of have that as well, where I have worldviews that may not be, in some cases, the most popular or may not be mainstream, and I want to like make a joke about that, but the audience doesn't necessarily follow along with you, like you said, because they'll be like, that's weird, or I don't like that line of thinking, or something like that, and they'll pull back. So that is
like you said with the dark comedy thing. Yeah. My stuff, I want to label it as dark, but a lot of it starts with intrusive thoughts. So I just pull on the thread of, and it's like, hey, I have fun with this. This is like a thing that popped into my head. I was like, now I'm giving it to you, but when it doesn't go over, people are looking at you like, why would you? It's like, I didn't choose to think that. That's a thing that popped. I didn't go through my mental Rolodex of thoughts and pick this ugly thing. Yeah. It's just, it popped in my head and I'm showing it to you. It's like, hey, smell this. Yeah. It stinks. Yeah, it stinks. I'm not saying it's a good thing.
I did that with some of the jokes I did tonight. I did one joke about my friend, because it was a true story, and I was like, this is my line of thinking when she told me this, that she bought her son a bulletproof backpack for $400.
They expire too.
What? What do you mean they expire? Like they stop working after a while?
I don't think they literally stop. I don't know because I never tested it. But, do you know Nancy Pageant?
No, but continue.
She was a comic out in Charlottesville, and used to come out to Pompeii a whole while. I used to call her my comedy mom because it was like the one person I would look to after I try something, and for like solid advice. It's like I want your feedback. Yeah. And there was one joke I did about my great grandmother. She had turned 100 or 101. I can't remember. It was like she's older than the Ouija board as far as like mass-produced Ouija boards. Yeah. Like if she dies, I try to talk to her through a Ouija board. From her perspective, it'd be relatively new technology. Yeah. She's like, I am familiar with this. This isn't like runes and insignias. This is, I remember when that came out. Mattel makes it. And then I looked at Nancy, and she goes, that is crystallized. Like, that bit is crystallized. And I was like, I like that.
Crystallized?
Yeah, it's like, that is just formed.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah.
That's done. Yeah, do it just like that.
So, what advice would you give someone who wants to try stand-up comedy?
There's a piece of advice that I heard from Tim Dillon that I thought was really, really good for anybody that wants to do comedy. That's do crowd work and say the N word. Seriously, it's weird because some people don't have a relationship with funny. Some people discover funny through comedy, through doing stand-up, and other people are naturally funny. There's people that can be funny. If you have any type of thing, like if you make your friends laugh, your family laugh, your coworkers laugh, make anybody laugh, or if you have any moment, this is just for me as far as my style. If you want to try to do something like what I do, if anybody, whatever, but pay attention. Pay attention to those moments when you're on. Pay attention to the moment when your friends are on. I get so much stuff from my friends. Yeah, like the boys, like Kyle, Todd, Tyler. I would say Bradley. Bradley don't talk a whole lot, but it's just like as far as cadence, facial expressions, timing, intensity, like just pay attention to that. Pay attention to the fun. Yeah, like when you're having a good time, try to soak in as many details as you can. I'd say that, and then you can try to incorporate some of that stuff, like piece by piece.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's pretty good. That is one of the things where people are trying to, they're funny somehow in real life and they want to bring that to stage. Sometimes they need help translating that because there is a kind of
goal, man. Like the two young ladies that went up tonight, the thing I told them both was like, I loved how comfortable, vulnerable, how you were just yourselves up there.
That's true.
Like, if you want to keep doing this, never lose that. As far as writing jokes and coming up with material and stuff, you can figure that stuff out. But don't it's the essence. That's the thing that makes you want to do this thing. Yeah. And the better relationship you have with that, the better off you're going to be doing it.
That's cool. So we're going to move on to our segment here. This is something new I'm starting called Crowd Work, where I take listener questions for myself or whatever guest I have, if I'm able to plan that ahead. And so I put out questions on social media asking what would people want to ask Khalid Johnson when I have you here for an interview. So I'm going to go through some of these questions. So at the Mullet Influencer on Instagram asked,
"Oh boy, what's up?"
How do you determine which hats to wear on stage? Khalid wears a lot of hats.
Yeah, man, I'm balding. I'm trying to embrace it. I want to drop the top on the Cooperville. Stop loving what's not loving me back eventually. But right now, it's just, it's hats. Off of the fit. Look, he's asking that because I wore a big-ass, stupid hat when I was in Bradford for that Broke Black Mountain bit, that I gave away at the Southern.
The big cowboy hat? Because I think I saw a picture of that. Okay. All right.
It's just off of the fit. That one was for a bit. But I do like wearing hats. I like wearing hats on stage.
That is something about creating your stage persona as well. I've found that when I go on stage a lot, I like to wear my button-up shirts because one, I think it makes me look kind of nice. Two, I like the design. I have heard try not to let your outfit be louder than you. So I don't go up there. Mine are, I think, pretty subtle for the most part. I think they look good enough that people will compliment me, but I try. That is a concern I have sometimes where it's like, is this too distracting, or does this seem like it's part of the bit? You know what I mean?
I've seen dudes before where it's like, I noticed that. Not that it was loud. It was just like, maybe I was just being insecure or something, but his outfit was too nice. It's too fly. Yeah. And I was like, I don't like it. I don't like this. But,
did it match his vibe, like his stage persona?
You know what? I was probably just being weird. But,
okay.
It's like I show up to Mike's in my work clothes all the time. It's like a dirty T-shirt and ripped jeans and some Carolina lagers. But I'll get freshly dipped for the shows. But I like to do that. That's me though. I do that all the time. Like I last night at the Mike I had the Joe Namath Crimson Tide throwback jersey on. Yeah. My boy Kyle comes up. He was like, "Change your clothes, you second wear bitch." I wore it to his house the night before for darts. Yeah. Just to test out the fit. Just be like, this is fly, right? It's fly. So I can feel comfortable on stage and not think like, do I look like I'm doing too much? Yeah, wear what you be comfortable. I think that's the biggest thing is be comfortable.
All right. Good answer. Hopefully he finds that satisfying. At Tyler Rich Comedy, buddy of ours.
The other home.
Yeah. Who wins in a fight? RFK, Alex Jones, or Tulsi Gabbard?
RFK, if you want the serious answer. Have you seen that guy?
Is he really old?
He is old. Have you seen him without a shirt?
No. I've seen Alex Jones without a shirt. I don't know. I think the crazy of Alex Jones kind of tops both of them.
I think the paranoia of RFK trumps the craziness of Alex Jones.
You're saying that RFK is more paranoid than Alex Jones?
Yeah. He's had like 3 or 4 assassination attempts on him. Like the last one was a dude disguised as a federal marshal. And he had like just like a duffel bag full of guns. He had like fake badges and stuff.
He has more real life experience.
Kennedy.
Yeah, that's true.
He's
it
trying
runs in
to
their
live
family.
out the family tradition.
Yeah. Okay. From @woman_in_A, which is, I don't know if they want me to say their names. Anyway, she asks, what is his take on young Republicans?
I don't know. I think there's 2 types of young Republicans. There's the ones that kind of grew up in Republican households that, you know, it's just what they know. And there's other people that are looking for some identity and the left doesn't have anything to offer them. That's a broad, so broad.
I thought you'd know this person and that would be like an inside joke or something, but maybe it's just a genuine question. This person might be talking about the organization Young Republicans, like in school, there's like a club. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah. I think it's fine.
Okay, it's fine. Yeah.
There's yeah, sure, yeah. Like,
well, there you have it, folks. You heard it here first. Colin thinks Young Republicans is fine.
Yeah, okay. Do whatever you want to do, man. Yeah.
So I will say, in comedy, I think political humor can be very difficult. I think when you do political humor, unless it's something extremely absurd and obvious, you're adding more difficulty to what is already a difficult craft. Because people obviously are going to have their own political views, and especially in like times like these, it's very hard to get a crowd on board unless you are very familiar with that area.
My take on political humor is you have to at least appear to be as open as you want your audience to be. And I've seen people do political humor where it's like you can alienate so many people. It goes back to that thing of, do they have the opportunity to laugh at this?
Yeah.
You know, because I think people are definitely, all sorts of people are willing to laugh at themselves. All right, your bit with at one table. It's funny you did it to the same people twice.
Which one?
It was, this table seems like they're more likely to have Black Lives Matter flag than this table. And it was like a table of like,
pink hair.
No one had pink hair. I won't be accurate. I want to call them
was it the first one?
Septum piercing adjacent.
Yeah. It might have been the lighting, to be fair.
Yeah, but they literally just moved from one side of the room to the other. Like 1 week, they was on like
I did not know it was the same people. It was. I found out afterwards. And I felt bad. I was like, oh, not only did I repeat a joke, but I alienated these people. But they were in good spirits about it. I talked to them afterwards.
Yeah. They're super cool. Shout out to Trip, Kane, and Ollie, and I'm gonna call him Vic because I think it's Jess. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I think his name's Jess.
They were good spirits.
Yeah.
I think it is something where, and that kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier about you have a particular point of view that you want to get across to people and try to get them on board with. And I think that is something that you try to do with political humor.
I try to be more like, I'm about togetherness, man.
Yeah.
It's like, that's my politics. I'm pro people.
There are some things where, politically speaking, I look at it and I'm like, this is really absurd, but I might be in the minority of that. So trying to make that into a joke can be challenging, but Anyway, interesting question. Okay.
I'll say most of my material ain't even really political, because there's politics attached to what I want to talk about, and I'm like aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like trying to navigate that is sometimes, it's not even hard to do, because you write your joke, it's just don't get scared.
Mm-hmm.
Don't lock up. Don't get stiff. Because if you want to get the point across, you have to be open to the information coming back. As far as like a facial expression, a noise, even a groan or something like that. You got to roll with it. You know, like I don't really feel like doing an example, but you got to stay open to keep them open.
Yeah.
If you lock up, they'll lock up.
I think there is something where, and this goes for all writing, because I saw a video where it was a video essay talking about this in movies and stuff. You can talk about politics if you don't get preachy with it. Because if you get preachy, then that's going to turn people off. But I think comedically speaking, if you can highlight absurdity where anyone can objectively say, like, yeah, when you break it down like this, that's absurd and funny.
Mhm.
I think you can get people on board.
Yeah.
Even with things they might even politically disagree with. I do jokes about things I
it could
politically
be something that people agree with, right?
Yeah.
You could take a stance that people agree with, or whoever's in the crowd.
Mhm.
But if you paint the person that disagrees with whatever your thing is as like just this unrepentant, unredeemable like monster,
Yeah.
it's like, what a piece of shit that wouldn't think the way I think.
Yeah.
The person that agrees with you might have somebody that they love
Yeah.
that thinks a different way, and they might be like, my dad ain't a bad dude. He just
You got to read the room.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, I even like read the room because it's like it might not be anything in the room specifically to read.
That's true.
It's just like I don't know. Everyone should have a chance to laugh.
Yeah.
Even if it might be a little hard to laugh at themselves.
Yeah.
Like it goes. Then doing this whole podcast, like you should have an opportunity to laugh at what you're saying. But certain things you can say where it's like, there's no way if that joke is directed at like if you want to do a fat joke or something like that, and then it's like there's a fat person, heavy set person like in the room.
Mm-hmm.
There's a way to play with them. You're playing with people.
Mm-hmm.
You're not attacking people. You're supposed to be playing with them.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. At Squatch.00. Where can I get good barbecue? He looks like someone that would know.
As far as franchise goes, you can't go wrong with Mission Barbecue. Mission Barbecue.
I do love Mission Barbecue.
I
I got a free sandwich because my birthday month.
Mm-hmm. Also, you get,
I'm gonna get that this weekend. Hopefully.
you get the free
Veterans.
sandwich for veterans.
Yeah, you don't get as much stuff as you'd think, but yeah, those do come with perks.
If you're in Waynesboro, I'll head down to Fish and Pig.
I've heard of that place. I wanted to check that out for a while.
There's a dope spot that I've heard of. I haven't been to yet, like near Craigsville. Used to be a Tasty Freeze, but they were just in some like food magazine or something like on the Food Channel. I need to check that out. But I love barbecue. I'm looking for the good barbecue.
All right, there you go. This last one I got for you, my wife actually asked, and I saved this for last because honestly, it's very thoughtful indeed. Have you stuck with the same kind or brand of comedy since day one? I.e., did you start off with a vision of the kind of comedy you wanted to do and then had to pivot to be more attractive to the local comedy scene?
No. I've gotten more thoughtful, and I've taken, we talked about this on Chris's podcast because he's talking about the same thing.
Chris Allen, by the way, because we mentioned him twice.
The Chris Allen show, last episode, actually, one just came out.
Mm-hmm.
But I've had jokes. I'll do one. This is one that I like. I do it a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
And the evolution of it from what I originally thought. I do more editing now as far as I do the joke of I know not to say, no words like tranny, retarded, or midget. It is transgender person living with a cognitive disability and little person, or little people, person with dwarfism.
Mm-hmm.
And I got there's jokes about all those kind of switches, moves, or whatever. And it's a whole set. But then at the end of it, the big punchline is, I'm good at not saying those things. The only time I mess up is when I type them into Pornhub. Originally, the original joke was like, hey, you're not supposed to say tranny, but that's like a tab on some porn sites. It says right there. It's like one of the tabs. It's fine right there. But that's, I ain't gonna say it's the dumb version, but that's like a less digestible version of it. And I don't know. It's like that's one of those, talking about pulling the thread on the intrusive thought from, I got to build something that people can enjoy from a thought that was just kind of like a dickhead thing to say.
Yeah.
But and I'm paying more attention to myself than I am to the crowd. There's jokes that I would do that so maybe I thought it was funny at the time, but after saying it, I didn't feel good about saying it.
Yeah.
And dropping jokes like that, and I'm better at avoiding those jokes. And I'm more into the performance aspect of it than the writing aspect of it. I think I'm a strong writer. I think I write good jokes. But I think kind of like my superpower, if I have one, is being able to really just read the room and see the comedic through lines and figure out where to go. And when I'm successful is when I see those things, I listen to them and I ride those waves. And when I don't do well is when I see those things and they scare me because that's not what I wanted to see, and I don't want to deviate from what I wanted to do.
I think I personally have pretty much stuck with the same kind of brand, which is a little bit of dark humor. I have branched out because of new life experiences. I'll incorporate more personal life experiences and stuff, and that tends to be more attractive. But I like to dig my heels in with the dark humor, just because, to me, go ahead.
I'll go back. Like, I tried. I don't really have a brand yet.
Yeah.
But I was trying to do. I was like, yo, I'm punk rock comedy. That was like my thing. It was like I always wore like Doc Martens and like a trench coat and like black fingernails and stuff. And like, I'm edgy. Like,
this ain't your grandpa's comedy.
Yeah. like I didn't want to be like the edgelord
dude,
but I was like, it's gotta be like I want to be something that's kind of out there and fun. But I kind of moved away from that. Now I'm just focused on like really just trying to be myself.
So that's the thing too. It's like I think some people might see me that way, and I don't want to be. I don't consider myself an edgelord in the sense that I'm going to try to come up with the most shocking thing to say to crowds. I do have a writing challenge to myself where I try to come up with topics that would be difficult to laugh about, and kind of like what you said, when something's just so bad, you have to laugh at it. And I want to do that. I want to be able to kind of create this silver lining. And sometimes it's not even directly about the topic itself. Sometimes I just have a really good misdirect where you start off with a very dark subject, but take it in a very relatable term, like the Schindler's List joke I do. For listeners, you can find that on a couple of my comedy sets. I like to close out with it.
The dude I've seen is like, I don't know, I haven't seen them really mastered it, but like I really like how they do it. Is Monty. Out in Richmond.
I've met him once. I'm not super familiar with his comedy, but yeah. Monty Giles?
Monty Giles. He reminds me of a roommate I used to have. Their humor is very similar as far as like not just upsetting things or dark things, but also kind of like a flippant attitude towards it. It's just kind of like, what? Like, you'll making you question yourself more than question what they're saying. Yeah. Because it's just like, well, I said that. What was wrong?
I've done that too, and I was talking to the comedian who went for the first time tonight, where that's pretty much what I've done, where I've done my style of humor, and the crowd isn't on board, but I commit to it, and I'm just like, look, this is, you guys got to get on board, or we're just not going to have a fun time, but keep an open mind that this is for the sake of humor.
That tonight with the table where it's just like I feel like I'm taking me seriously.
Yeah,
it's not a TED talk.
Yeah, so I try to. I don't do a joke for the sake of it being edgy or something. It needs to be smart and well written. And I'll usually run it by people. Yeah, exactly. I'll run it by people and I'll be like, is this funny because it's genuinely funny, or is it just shock value? I try not to go for shock value. I try to go for, this was a clever turn of phrase or something. But I've pretty much stuck with that from day one, I think. I don't think I've changed too much. I think it's like what you said. You try to be true to yourself and try to make sure that you are. Don't pander to an audience. I think people will respond better when you're being yourself.
I think people can just find out so much about themselves from doing comedy. Where it's like, as far as where I want to take my material, like I want to start doing cleaner stuff, but that means I want to be a cleaner person. Yeah. Not like have a cleaner stage persona.
Yeah, I get you.
There's like things, it's like I bring a lot of ugly stuff up there. You know, like, well, that's rattling around here in my head, it's rattling around my heart. So, yeah. Everybody should do 5 minutes within their lifetime. You get like 80-something, 70-something years. Do 5 minutes to figure some things out.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, Khalid, for joining us tonight. Appreciate it.
Man, appreciate you too.
Yep. Do you want to plug anything? You got any upcoming shows? You got any social medias you want to let people know about?
The big one is Tale of Khalid Comedy on Instagram. First and third Wednesday every month. Rick's Open Mic. You can catch me at the Southern pretty much every Monday. With Chris Allen's almost every Monday open mic, and of course at Brothers Craft Brewing, Travis Valle. What is this? The third Wednesday? Third Thursday?
Third Thursday.
Third Thursday every month. But that's all I really want to plug, man. Yeah. Oh yeah, and my band, all caps, MF Doom Tribute Band. Check us out on Instagram, all caps band on Instagram.
All right, thank you, Khalid. Call it a night.
Woo.